did you do after school? What was the path that you took?
So after school, I just decided to go traveling and I went and lived in Switzerland as an au pair. And I really was, because my mum had always told everybody, oh, she's going to be a massage therapist, she's going to heal people, she's going to do this. And so I kind of went through a little bit of a rebellion and was like, no, I'm going to be my own person. And like, I just went and I did everything but massage or healing or anything as a job. And then when I came back from Switzerland, I just thought, well, why not just do something that I love? And so I decided just to do my diploma in aromatherapy. And that was at 19 years old. And yeah, and then from there, I just was like, well, what else do I do? Okay, let's get my diploma in that. Let's get my qualification in all of these things, and just kept doing that. And I mean, I'd been self-taught for years. And I even had like neighbors and people that would teach me, when I was a child as well. So I already had all these things. I just needed the sort of license to do it, right? And ask money
Right.
for it. So yeah, so I just that's what I did is I just collected qualifications and I'm still collecting them now. Yeah, and then so I just kind of gave in and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do these things. I want to help
Isn't
people.
that great? Isn't that great though, Becca? Obviously, you made a decision or you had a blueprint before you came here, which we know about. On our journey, you find that you've got this kind of blueprint about, a purpose. People get too hung up on big purposes, but it's can have many purposes, right? But
Yeah.
but you surrounded yourself as a child with other people that were there to support you and encourage you to do that. Even though you had that little rebellious stage, you still had other people, including your mom, that supported this journey and encouraged you. And I think that's amazing because most people don't get that.
Yeah, like a lot of people, their great awakening, as it were, is because they worked in corporate and then they got cancer and suddenly their mind was open to the possibilities and that's how they got into healing or that's how they got their spiritual enlightenment, right? So my
Right,
story is very different to that, right? Mine's
right.
like it was already there and my traumas came later, but I had the tools already in place because I'd already been doing them for like I said, since birth or whatever, I'd already been doing them all. So I'm sort of in a reverse order almost.
So, welcome back to the Passionate Pioneer podcast, series three. You know me, I'm Beth Taylor, and I am the Passionate Pioneer. This podcast is your connection into spiritual awakening experiences and the path to joyful living. And today I'm joined by Becca Shaw. Hi, Becca.
Hi.
And for people that don't know you, would you mind giving us a quick introduction before we dive into your story?
Absolutely. So I'm Becca. I do all things healing and spiritual, and I have done since I was born and probably before that. Yeah, I just love learning. I'm always learning, and yeah, and my whole thing is about empowering people to heal themselves, to take over their lives, and to really get the best out of them that they possibly can.
Hmm. So, let's dive into your story then. So, what were you doing before? Or, I mean, you said since birth, or maybe before, you've always been spiritual. So,
Yeah.
explain that concept and explain how you felt when you were younger. And let's let the story evolve from there, if we can.
Sure. Yeah, so I was always the weird kid. I was always at the bottom of the garden looking for fairies and talking with imaginary friends and looking up at the stars at night and just like mind exploding at all the possibilities of everything. I was really into mythology and healing, like especially like looking at all the plants that were growing wild in the forests and things. And oh, and what does that do? And yeah, just always very curious, but very, very curious into the esoteric and the mysteries and yeah, just everything beyond the veil kind of thing, everything that was out there and different and magical. Like literally, like it's such an umbrella term to say magical, but literally that's what I was. That was what I was into. I was into the magic and the mystery of life and what that could be. So I was always like that as a child, always, and just started learning and always, even now, I'm still learning, right? So I'll never stop learning. There's always stuff to learn. Even if you already know something, you can keep learning more about it. You can just expand your knowledge and get better at it and understanding more about it and everything. So this is just who I've always been.
Yeah, we never stop learning, do we?
No.
We'll never know everything even this lifetime. You think, well, you can come back another lifetime and learn some more, right? If you believe in that reincarnation, which I do,
Yeah.
I'm sure Becca does as well. Um, but yeah, it's an ever evolving journey, isn't it? We're always learning, and I think we're never too old to learn anything new.
No, no,
Um,
absolutely.
So, okay, so you were the strange child. Now, I had a similar experience being the same strange child. I wasn't at the bottom of the garden, but I was feeling like the odd man out. And I think
Yeah.
when you're a spiritual child or you understand things that other children don't, you tend to be. Children feel that energy. We feel
Yeah,
that energy, don't we, Becca?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's an invisible. Yes, I know. I know you're
Yeah.
strange. I know there's something about you,
Yeah. But it's
right?
also all children can tap into these things, right? So they have that ability, and it's just, society that changes that and takes that away from them. So they start school, or their parents tell them, oh, you're just making it up, it's just your imagination or whatever. And so you then unlearn all of these things. And so then when you want to reconnect to them as an adult, that's why it's so much harder, because you've got to relearn that. You've got to reopen those doors that have been closed for so long. Whereas we're born with them wide open. And we're just like, yes, of course, this is how the universe works, right? It's society that changes that for us.
It's the conditioning, right?
Yes.
Or the layers of coats, I like to say. Every time you have to take off the layer. Okay, that's what the teachers told me. That's what my boss told me. That's what
Yeah.
my parents told me. That's what my auntie told me. That's what that's
Yeah.
what my neighborhood told me. That's what and it's all these layers, isn't it? All the time, and how and we have to. It is the conditioning. We have to unlearn to learn again.
Yeah.
It's a
And
it's a
sometimes you don't even
process.
realize what it is. Sometimes it could be just something that a stranger said to you once, like in a
Right.
moment, and you didn't even realize that it got into you and it changed your entire outlook on life. And so, I have clients that go back and think that they've got a block because of a parent or something. And actually it was just some random thing from this random person at a completely different age, right? So we don't understand just how our words or our actions affect other people, especially sort of children that, like you said, are more open to everything. They're
Mm,
so much more of a sponge, right? So they
right.
they take in so much more than we realize.
So where did this? So as a spiritual child and a bit of an outsider, which I can definitely not recommend, but I can definitely attune to. Um, what where did that lead you? What did you do after school? What was the path that you took?
So after school, I just decided to go traveling, and I went and lived in Switzerland as an au pair. And I really was, because my mum had always told everybody, oh, she's going to be a massage therapist, she's going to heal people, she's going to do this. And so I kind of went through a little bit of a rebellion and was like, no, I'm going to be my own person. And like I just went and I did everything but massage or healing or anything as a job. And then when I came back from Switzerland, I just thought, well, why not just do something that I love? And so I decided just to do my diploma in aromatherapy. And that was at 19 years old. And yeah, and then from there, I just was like, well, what else do I do? Okay, let's get my diploma in that. Let's get my qualification in all of these things, and just kept doing that. And I mean, I'd been self-taught for years. And I even had like neighbors and people that would teach me, when I was a child as well. So I already had all these things. I just needed the sort of license to do it, right? And ask money
Right.
for it. So yeah, so I just that's what I did is I just collected qualifications and I'm still collecting them now. Yeah, and then so I just kind of gave in and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do these things. I want to help
Isn't
people
that
with.
great? Isn't that great though, Becca? Obviously, you made a decision or you had a blueprint before you came here, which we know about. On our journey, you find that you've got these, this kind of blueprint about, and a purpose. People get too hung up on big purposes, but it's can have many purposes, right? But
Yeah.
but you surrounded yourself as a child with other people that were there to support you and encourage you to do that. Even though you had that little rebellious stage, you still had other people, including your mom, that supported this journey and encouraged you. And I think that's amazing because most people don't get that.
Yeah, like a lot of people, their great awakening, as it were, is because they worked in corporate and then they got cancer and suddenly their mind was open to the possibilities and that's how they got into healing or that's how they got their spiritual enlightenment, right? So my
Right,
story is very different to that, right? Mine's
right.
like it was already there and my traumas came later, but I had the tools already in place because I'd already been doing them for like I said, since birth or whatever, I'd already been doing them all. So I'm sort of in a reverse order almost.
Yeah, and that's true, isn't it? That is true. The most of the ladies I speak to have had some type of trauma, some type of corporate bad experience,
Yeah.
family problems, where they've had to fight to, reevaluate and start being the victor instead of the victim, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that happens to most people. So really, we could say you were fortunate, but but you still had to deal with you still have to life, right? You still have to do
Yeah, of
life.
course.
And so but you were lucky that you had the tools and the practices in place.
But I think that the problem is that a lot of healers or a lot of anyone spiritual, they they know that they have the tools. They are great at telling their clients, this is what you need to do, this is how we're going to get you back on your path or whatever. But when it comes to us, it all goes out the window. We completely forget, right?
Oh yeah.
Like for example, I have Reiki and I'll be like, oh, my arm really hurts. And all day I'm like, my arm really hurts. And then I'm like, I have Reiki. I could just heal myself. I mean, like we forget this for ourselves. And the same thing with traumas and stuff. Like in the moments of it all, we completely don't do that for ourselves. And I think that goes down to a self-worth stuff and the self-love stuff, which again we teach others, but we forget to do for ourselves. So yes, although I had the tools, I didn't always utilize them, or at least not at the time that I would have needed them the most. They come later when I realized, oh yeah, I do have to refill my cup as well, not just like helping others.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you a funny story is that, I put myself in the middle of nature because I'm not lazy. I'm not a lazy person, but it's making the effort to actually go into nature and find a
Yeah.
park. And I know that that's what I need. And I do harp on about it with clients. And I say, put you on the schedule and make sure that you're going for walks. And, especially if you're in a city, it's very difficult, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you're in living city life, find a park or some type of nature. So I put myself in the middle of nature so that it's outside my front door. So, that was part of my journey into I've got to reconnect with nature. It's so important when
Yeah.
you're going through anything. If you speak to anybody, Becca, but give me another example. But the when you walk in nature, when you go into nature, any type of nature, what's the benefits? Tell me.
Oh my gosh, what are not the benefits of doing that, right?
Right.
Especially if you're barefoot. If you can go bare feet in nature, that's all you need to do. And you don't even need to walk around if you don't want to. You could literally just stand there or sit there, but have your bare feet on the ground. That in itself, it sounds very out there, but it's the heartbeat of the earth can rush through you, and that in itself is healing on every level. Like, mind, body, and soul, that will just heal you, just that connection to the earth. And you can think of that as Mother Earth and a goddess, or you can just think of it in a more scientific of like everything vibrates. The earth's energy and the vibration of the earth is so in tune with us and so healing on every level. So that number one is fantastic. So if you just have just a tiny bit of grass or earth somewhere, just put your feet on it. Just looking at nature, just listening to the birds, just looking at the trees, it all triggers on a very primal, natural level for us a sense of peace, like that green and that blue of the water if you've got lakes or rivers or something around you. This bird song and the buzzing of the bees. I mean, yes, bees, like the just the sound of the humming of the bees is a incredibly healing frequency.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like bees are incredible. If you can just sit there under, some flowers and just watch and listen to the bees, like they're not going to hurt you if you're not swatting at them, right?
Yeah,
You can
right.
just listen to them. Yeah, and I mean, I'm 40 and I still climb trees. I was up one yesterday and I go up my favorite tree and I lie down on the branch and I just lie there and look up at the sky. Like that's healing for me. That's downtime for me. Yeah, I could just go on and on,
Yeah,
but
no,
nature is
that's
fantastic. Go out and do nature.
well, I can see because I know the background that you've got there is nature, so I
Yeah,
know that know that nature and the healing, and the truth of everything is getting back to nature. And the problem is with most people is they do live in concrete jungles,
yeah,
and and this is where they're cut off and isolated, and there's no connection to Mother Earth. Even putting you said the bare feet on the ground, but even gardening, people say, oh, gardening, it's very boring, but it can actually be really therapeutic. And when you put your hands in the soil, it's the microbiotics that get into your skin that even boost your immune system. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy, what nature does. And the women I speak to, they have incredible experiences when they go into nature, and and they really connect, and they're like, oh my God, I'd forgotten what that was
yeah,
like.
yeah. Yeah, we do. We forget and like, when we were kids and we would just like be all muddy and just not care, right? And that, like you said, is immune boosting. That's, fun and it brings in the joy, but it's also on a physical level, it helps your immune system, it helps all of that physical stuff for you. And nowadays it's like, oh, you're dirty. Like now we need to like put disinfectant on you and all that stuff, and it's like, no, let them just breathe in the earth, like, and bring that in through their skin and get that nature into them, because nature's healing in so many ways. I even, like at the beginning when I was saying about like the different like wildflowers and stuff, they're not weeds. Like we're told, oh, dandelions are weeds, but every part of the dandelion is incredibly healing. Right. So all of these wildflowers, all of them have a purpose. They can all heal you on every level. And it's incredible. Nature is always going to help you.
Yeah. I love that you're still climbing trees at 40. I love
I
that,
know,
right?
right?
My cats climb the trees when we go for a walk, but I sit on the mat. I walk up to the top, and I sit on the top of the mountain, and I look at I've got a view of,
Beautiful.
I'm in Italy, so I'm in the mountains, and I've got
Yeah.
a view of many mountains in the distance, and it's just quite beautiful, and the sunset is extraordinary. So yeah, so I'm quite lucky with that. So tell me about this spiritual awakening. So you said you've been on a spiritual path. You didn't come like most women from a trauma or corporate past. What other what other triggers did you have on this journey, and who else helped you with the with this awakening process, which is a process. It doesn't just happen in one day, right?
Yeah, everyone just thinks like, you decide one day to be spiritual and then your life is beautiful and it's just onwards and upwards, but that's not the path at all. Most of us probably listening are gonna know, like it's a wave. You're gonna go up and you're gonna go down, and the downs can sometimes be extremely hard, right? Because they're all lessons, they're all tests. Like your soul signed up for all of these tests because it wants to see how it's going to react to it. So there's no right or wrong answer. Like I have clients that are like, well, I failed this test, didn't I? And I'm like, of course you didn't, because now you learned something from that, like nothing's a fail, it's all just to see how hard you're going to make it for yourself as well, like and how quickly you're going to ask for help or how quickly you're going to do these things. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, so for me, I mean, school obviously being the weird kid, I wouldn't say bullied, but it wasn't like pleasant because I was the weird one. But at the same time, I would have these like nasty kids coming to me like, "Oh, I need your help for something," because like, yeah, and I'm like, why would I help you? You were really nasty to me like this morning, and now this afternoon you're asking for help with something. So I mean, school wasn't my favorite place. I love learning, but I am not suited to that school indoctrination, or like just the topics of that. Like I loved history, I loved English, I hated mathematics. Like that was my stress. So school was not a good place, but it wasn't a terrible place, right? I just would have been better probably homeschooled. Um, so that was like a sort of a very basic sort of traumatic thing that wasn't traumatic, that kind of helped me to sort of step into this is who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, and I'm not going to change because some kid tells me I'm weird. I'm going to embrace that change, and I'm going to embrace that weirdness. And then of course, when I was an adult, a lot of my romantic relationships were not good, and it was like everyone kind of like got worse until the last one that I had that was extremely, extremely toxic and very, very traumatic. And literally, you know, I had to then, like we said at the beginning, like we don't do stuff for ourselves as healers and spiritual people. So I actually had to then take the time to focus on me and go into that whole self-love and self-worth stuff, and that's taken some time. And now like finally this year I actually went for it and properly sorted myself out for me, and and for the lessons learned. So hopefully that means that any future relationships now don't need to be the toxic anymore, because every time, because I wasn't learning, because I wasn't acknowledging, each relationship just got progressively worse. So I'm hoping now that that lesson is done. So yeah, so for me, like I would say probably the worst one was that final relationship, because my mum also died during that, when it was like really, really bad in that relationship. My mum also died in that time as well. And I was in Canada and she was in England. So yeah, and it was all around COVID time as well. So it was stress and it
Oh
was
yes, the
heartbreaking,
universe
and
doesn't play around, does it, Becca?
it does not
When
like
it wants you to
it,
know something and you're not learning the lesson, it
exactly.
gives you a double whammy or a triple whammy sometimes.
Absolutely. And yeah, it literally was this whole catalyst to just, sort this out. Like we've been trying to do this with you for so long, like just sort this out. And so, yeah, so then, like I said, I took that time actually to focus on me. And I actually did self-love and self-worth stuff for the first time properly, for the first time ever, which is ridiculous to say, considering I've been doing this for everyone else like my whole life, right? So yeah, so that was definitely my journey through the traumas and stuff like that was and now coming out that other side and healing from that, right?
Well, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
it's a journey, right?
Yeah, I think you're right, Becca. As you know that you know, there's a couple of things that I'd like to just to go back to. Actually, one of them was the soul experience, because as humans, we want to get everything right, and when we feel like something's not going the way we want, it's the ego speaking, and we're like, oh, we've done
Yeah,
that wrong, we've buggered that up. And in fact, the soul
yeah,
is here to have as many experiences as possible for your growth, for the best of you. And so that in my
yes,
experience, and that's what I talk about. That's my experience, Becca, and it seems to me
yeah,
that's your experience as well, right? Yes. Do you want
yes,
to do you want to do
absolutely.
you want to talk a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit about that?
yeah,
Because it
yeah.
is about
So
experience, right? It is all about
it
the
is.
human, like you said, you have clients that talk about, I did something wrong, I buggered that up. But, really it's because the soul wants experiences. So can we
Yeah,
delve into that a little bit more, please?
yeah. So it can be quite difficult for some people to hear as well, but literally everything that happens in your life is because you chose that, and not in like a just a well then I should just let it happen. Not at all. Um, I always say, like, you remember like those magazines where you have like the sort of flow chart kind of things where it's like you start here and it's like, yes or no, and you go down a path and then it's like two other things, and so you can always get back across to the other end result, but it just takes a bit longer. So
Right.
I kind of say that's kind of what our soul did. There's kind of points in our life where it's like, I want to experience this thing happening. So something big, or something, or it could be a change of career, it could be a relationship, it could be an illness, anything. And it puts these big events in place in certain points of your life because it wants to see how you're going to react to it. Are you going to you know, get excited and go for it, or learn all about it so that you can get good at that? Are you going to say, oh, that's really hard, I'm not going to bother with that, I'm going to just wallow in self-pity forevermore and really take on that victim mentality? Or am I going to learn my lesson from that and actually go and help people who are going through that similar situation and help them, show them how to come out of that depression or out of that bad relationship or out of that negative self-belief or whatever it is, like you know like there will be certain points in your life where your soul is interested to see how it's going to react as a human, because it when you're a soul, you think and act and everything very, very different to the human side. The human side has, all these range of emotions. First off, it has all of these ideas about itself, either from itself or from society, as we were talking earlier. And so there's no right or wrong answer. Like, you could take the path that is not going to lead you to a very good outcome for that thing, but it doesn't mean that you can't then change course and come out of it. You, like I said, you could be just really depressed forever and be like, well, this happened to me, and so I'm going to be the victim for the rest of my life. And you
Hmm.
can do that. And then all the things afterwards are going to be, other things trying to bring you out of it. And then if you keep choosing to stay in that sadness, then, that's still a lesson that your soul's learning from it. Likewise, if you change it, if you find that strength, or you find some people to help you, or you decide to help others, or whatever it is, your soul is realizing, oh wow, yeah, so I do have that strength still. Like, I still can tap into my soul and my guidance and my intuition, and that's fantastic. And I can pick the path that's going to give me joy and give me happiness and give others hope and healing as well. Hope that kind of answered.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can reframe the story, right? So it
Yeah,
really is you create your own reality. So, what do you want to do? If you want to take that, I love that diagram chart, flow chart
yeah,
that you used. Yeah, because you go yes or no, and you say, yes, I'm going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so then you might you might be stuck in the same, like it could be let's just take a job opportunity, right? So then you say no and you go on a different trajectory, and then further on down the line you're like, I think I chose wrong. There's something
Yeah,
happens, and then you can redirect, and then you can go, oh, okay, let's choose yes. I'm going to say yes to this next opportunity. And then that,
exactly.
then, and slowly it can happen, or it can happen like abruptly,
Hmm.
like everything happens all at once in a bad way, so it
Yeah,
brings you to rock bottom, so you've got to reevaluate, and you've got to say, okay, now I need to do something about this, which sounds like what happened to you with the, your mom, losing your mom. I'm sorry to hear that. And then, your relationship and COVID at the same time. It's just a whole disaster, a series of
yeah,
disasters, right?
yeah. Well, because of COVID, the flights weren't going, right? So I couldn't get back there, and it was just stress. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was, yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
that's, most of, sometimes that we do have that spiritual turning point, as I like
Hmm.
to call them. It's just like a big boot up the backside, isn't it? From the
Yeah,
universe saying, okay, now is the time. You've got to learn this lesson. You've got to make these changes.
yeah,
And it's also interesting. The second point that you made was about we neglect ourselves. We're very good at taking care of other people and people pleasing. But
hmm,
what about us?
yeah,
What about you? Where are you on the schedule, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so um you've talked a little bit about your life, your spiritual life, relationships, and since embracing this spiritual path and going, okay, I need to work on my self-worth.
yeah.
How, and and understanding that the practices that you teach, you've got to do yourself. How has your overall sense of well-being really changed since you embraced it? And how does joy look like for you now? Hi, I just wanted to pop on here just to say thank you so much for being here, watching this video, and supporting my channel. It is my honor to bring you these stories from these incredible women who are passionate about their lives and have alchemized their spiritual awakening journeys from service to self to service to others. If you would like to be part of my Passionista community, just grab a free copy of my workbook, which you'll find a link below. It's called Your Passionista Journey Starts Here. And start making those small changes to your life that you need right now. Thank you again for being here. Love you to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you know when all the new weekly episodes are live. Thanks again, Passionista. Much love and joy. Now let's get back to the interview.
Yeah, it's literally like I'm waking up, right? Again. Like it's because I was so independent and strong, and then just over the decades, literally, just, getting more and more sort of not that anymore, like not being myself anymore. So now I'm coming out the other side, and I'm realizing that I do need to take care of myself. And that's not, you know, this huge stuff even. It's just simple stuff like I never drank water. Like I really didn't drink anything. And it was like I would have like literally a sip a day of water. Terrible.
I'm
And
shocked.
now
I'm really shocked.
I know. And so now like I'm doing that, and that sounds so ridiculous, but I'm now drinking water, and probably not as much as I should be still, but I'm drinking a lot. And my friend was laughing. I was telling her, "Oh, I've started drinking water, like loads of water, like not normal people loads of water, me drinking loads of water." And she was just dying of laughter because she was like, "That's so funny, like not normal people loads of water." Like, but it's just little things like that. And like I said, going out in nature more. Like I stopped going out in nature, and I'm very much a nature person, right?
Mhm.
And just that you've just got to make yourself go outside. And once you're out there, you don't want to go back in, right? It's just this, but it's getting yourself to go out there. It's like almost like a bringing yourself out of this depression, out of this hole. And you've really got to push yourself with that. So for me, a lot of it was a lot of simple stuff that doesn't sound, huge. It was like things like brush your teeth or drink water or go stand outside, go for a walk on the grass barefoot. Like even things like make your bed.
Simple
Like,
steps, right? Simple
yeah,
steps.
and just the simple act of making my bed and then being able to just get into bed at night when it's all made, right? It's just really simple stuff. And like I've gone back to like relearning how to like play the piano again. And so whenever I feel stressed or sort of trauma response or memories and stuff, if I'm home, I will just go on the piano, and just the music of that and stuff, it takes me out of it. That brings me back to the present. So it's very like self-care doesn't need to be bubble baths and stuff all the time. It can just be something as simple as, I haven't had a sip of water for a while. I probably need some water,
Yeah.
right? Or something like that. It doesn't need to be this grand, I'm doing a self-care day today. It's just like
Right. And I
anytime
do
you can
think
check
that.
in,
And
right?
again, if we don't do anything grand, we feel like we're failing ourselves. Oh, I've decided to change my life. Okay, I want to do this. And then you want to go from A to Z immediately. And I'm like, okay, right, slow down. Let's
Yeah,
small steps. Drink more water every day. Congratulate yourself, right?
exactly.
Congratulate yourself on the small wins. They don't have to be grandiose,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
And also it's the words that you use, whether you're saying them out loud or even in your head. Check into what words you're actually using. If like you're always saying, well, that was stupid of you, wasn't it? Well, what do you think that's creating in your body and in your mind, right? If you just say, oh, well, that probably wasn't the best thing to do, but I'm gonna correct that, or I'm gonna do better next time, or, well, you tried really hard, so let's do that better next time. Like certain words that you use are so damaging and people don't realize how powerful their words are. So even the really silly thing of just like anytime you're in the bathroom or passing a mirror in your hallway or something, if you glance at yourself, just say something nice to yourself. Like your hair looks great, or smile or whatever. And then when you first start doing it, you're going to feel really stupid doing it, but you're going to laugh. And that's the key, because when you laugh, your body is vibrating on that laughter, and it's then thinking, oh, this is nice. I like this.
A
And you're
reaffirming
gonna,
positivity, right?
yeah, you're gonna start glowing, and people are gonna start saying, there's something different about you. What's different about you? Did you, change something? But it's just literally the way that you speak about yourself can
Is that
change your entire self, your
is that
entire
is that
aura,
the
your entire
energy?
outlet.
Would you call that
Yeah.
the aura, the
The
energy?
aura, yes.
Right?
Yeah, your aura, and whether people know about it or not, they just sense that there's this change in you, right? And you feel happier, you feel better, and you're gonna be more healthy as well, because the more negative stuff that you tell yourself, the more your body's going to say, okay, well, I guess we're shutting down again and we're having another cold this year, or whatever. And, because your body's just trying to get you to slow down and appreciate it more. Like anything that happens like with your body is not out of spite. It's trying to tell you stuff. It's trying to tell you to slow down, or that something's not right for you, or something. It's a warning. It's not trying to be mean. It's not trying to stop you from having fun, or worry you that you're sick again for the fifth time that month or whatever. It's your body communicating to you that something's not right, or that you need to check in with something.
Well, I totally get that, Becca, and I'm really happy that you talked about that, because the words are important, and we do tend to, we talk a lot about, what you eat, what you drink, the exercise that you do, but it's also really important the words that you say to yourself. And I love the mirror. the mirror exercise is great. I use that one too. And the other one is just talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend, because you would never say to your best friend, "Oh, you're an idiot. You forgot
Yeah.
your keys. You're an idiot." You'd never
Yeah.
say that to your friend. So
Exactly.
talk to yourself like you are your best friend. Say
Yeah.
nice, "Oh, you forgot your keys. Oh, well,
Yeah.
big mistake. No
Yeah.
problem. There's a way round it. We'll figure it out."
Yeah.
Find a solution,
Absolutely.
right? But be careful with calling yourself bad words,
Yeah.
negative, because negativity goes into your body, right?
Yeah.
So I love that you brought that
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah. No, they're so powerful. Like, but then, you just said like bad words, but I mean, some curse words are extremely healing, right? Like, if you
Oh,
just
that's,
like
yeah, okay. I mean,
yell
yeah.
some of them at the top of your voice, that's clearing out your throat chakra, as my friend says.
Oh, yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
like you'll just like scream the F word at the top of
I
her
was going to
voice
say,
as
if
you
you've got a
say it.
favorite word, starts with F, no problem. Just use it, shout it out. Or the favorite English one, B, bollocks.
Hmm.
We like that one
Yeah,
too.
right. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, well, I can say that in Canada because they don't really know exactly what I'm talking about with a lot of
Right.
English like curse words, so I can say a lot of them.
So let's touch on that part of the story for you, Becca. So,
Mhm.
because I've moved as well, I've moved from my home location in the UK years ago, and I've been to different countries. Now I'm in Italy. You're in Canada. So when did you move and why? What happened there?
So it was 13 years ago. I always wanted to go and live in Australia. I always told everyone when I leave school, I'm gonna go and live in Australia. And then of course, in England we leave school at 16. So I got to that and I was like, I don't think I can get to Australia right
I think they've changed it now, actually. I think you can't leave until you're 18. Unless, unless you've got whatever you could. I'm not sure, but I think it's 18 now anyway. It's
now.
changed. But
Oh, well,
yeah.
when I was in school
Yeah, me too.
many, many moons ago,
Yeah, me
it was
too.
16 you
16.
left
Yeah.
school. So yeah, so but I was still always like, I'm gonna go and live in Australia. Anyway, I was then with a boyfriend at the time, and he always knew that I wanted to go, and I said, well, they have these things like work holidays, right? Like, where you go to these countries on a work permit and you live and work there and you experience the country, and so let's do that. And he was like, oh, well, I have relatives in Canada. I want to go to Canada. So I said, I don't want to go to Canada because I used to live in Switzerland, right? And I was like, I don't like snow. I don't want to be in snow half the year. So anyway, so then I said to him, well, let's do half and half. Like, let's go to Canada first because it's quicker and cheaper and easier to get back to the UK if things go wrong. So we'll do a year in Canada and then we'll do a year in Australia. So we'll do the height of the summer and the heat in Australia and the depth of the winter in Canada and see which one's, the more bearable. And also we're living and working there. He said, great. And then I applied for Canada and I got mine. I was like, when's yours coming? And he said, oh, I was only joking. So I said, oh, I'm not. So I went to Canada. Long story short, I got given a second year in Canada. So I stayed and then I met a Canadian and stayed in Canada and then just got trapped here. So I was always traveling. And
Got
literally the
trapped
moment
there.
I got to Canada, it all stopped. And so, yeah, so now I'm actually going next year back to the UK to a wedding of my friend. And then I'm going to travel around the UK and I'm hoping to do bits of Europe and get my travel back. Yes. So
That's good.
that's how I got to Canada and that's how I got stuck in Canada.
So I
Stayed
wonder
here
why.
forever.
So that's really funny. So he obviously had maybe some limiting beliefs or external pressures that stopped him when he said he was only joking. So,
Hmm.
for people like us that have traveled, Becca, and we have, I don't know what it is, the moxie, or
Yeah,
we see the fear and we go anyway. What
yeah.
is it? What are the biggest external pressures or limiting beliefs that you see at the moment in your business with your clients?
like with travel or in
Well,
general?
just in general. So that's a perfect example. The boy that, the boyfriend that you were going to go with, obviously, I was only joking, but maybe that was limiting beliefs he had
Yeah.
or external pressures that he had. So
Mm.
that's quite a number of years ago, right? So what's the biggest external pressures and limiting beliefs that you come across these days from your clients?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is self-worth stuff. Lots of people don't even realize that they don't have the self-love and self-worth. That's a huge, huge one. Obviously, loads of people gravitate towards the money blocks and then they realize that they've got so many limiting beliefs surrounding money, and that's why the energy of money is not flowing to them because either past lives or current life, or probably more often than not both. They've got so many blocks and ideas and limiting beliefs surrounding money and wealth. And again, that goes back to the deserving of it as well. A lot of people, they would love have loads of money, but somewhere inside them, they don't feel deserving of it. They
Right.
don't feel like, even if they're like, but if I had loads of money, I would do so much charity work. I would give money to all these people, so they have good intentions, but there's still a part of them that's like, but I don't deserve it. So I think in a nutshell, it's all goes down to the deserving and the worthiness that people are not feeling for themselves. And that's creating so many blocks for everybody in so many ways. And that can be, you know, getting the career or the business that they desire, or, a really good romantic partner, or just a really good friend. Like if their best friend is always not really
It's
should
not
have
really a
that
best
title of
friend.
best friend, you know, like but they don't feel that they're worthy of a better friend, right? Just like they
Yeah.
don't feel like they're worthy of a better partner, or there's so many blocks surrounding everything in everybody's lives, but at the end of the day, I would always say it comes back to worthiness
Yeah,
and
worthiness.
self-worth.
Self-worth is definitely linked to money. That's what I
Yeah,
found.
yeah,
And it is, and its self-worth is about, it is about who you're surrounding yourself with as well. The practice is putting yourself first, which isn't selfish, unless you're kind of, treading on people along the way because you
yeah.
want to get to that's different. But, but if you're taking care of yourself, it's empowering. You can take care of other people more easily because you already filled up your own cup.
Absolutely what I was gonna say. Yeah, I'm always
Right?
telling clients that like you can't give from a depleted cup.
Yeah.
You're just going to burn out, and therefore you can't help other people, right? So if you can fill your cup, you give to people with that overflow. Whatever is flowing over in that cup, you can give to everybody else, and then your cup is still full. You're just giving them the excess energy. It's
Yeah.
such a good analogy.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, self-worth is tied into intuition as well, and listening to yourself and listening to your own advice.
Yeah.
So, and I like to call it the inner Google, but we're very been trained again, the conditions, right? Of, you can't trust yourself,
Yes.
right? Who do you
Yeah.
think you are? You can't trust yourself. You've got to ask this expert and this expert and this friend and this family member and this person and the boy you met in the street 2 years ago. And everybody else's opinion is
Yeah.
more important than yours. So how do you intentionally tune into your inner Google or your intuition? And what practices do you have for that, Becca?
Yeah. So I I'm sort of experimenting a little bit at the moment with that sort of, because you've got two main intuition centers, let's say. So you've got your third eye, which is, the one that people usually know about, that, but then you've also got your gut, which surprisingly a lot of people don't realize, even though it's in sort of common knowledge
Gut
and
instinct. That's what we call
sayings
it.
and
Gut
stuff.
instinct, right?
Yeah, gut everybody knows what a gut feeling is. Everyone says, "Oh, I've got butterflies in my stomach," or yeah, no, like, I'm really nervous, so my stomach's cramping or whatever, right?
Yeah.
People have this in common sort of, conversation kind of thing, and not anything spiritual. But we forget when we go into the spiritual side of it that this is actually a symbol for you, like telling you what's right and what's wrong, and we should be listening to this as well. So I'm experimenting a lot with which one's stronger, because I always thought it was my third eye was the stronger one, but I'm sort of questioning now if it's not like my gut.
Mm.
So that's something that I'm at the moment really investing more time in, tuning into both and enhancing both so that they can work together. I also do something called Akashic Records, which is the idea that every soul has its very own library that holds everything that's ever done, ever could do, past
Hmm.
lives, future selves, everything. And you've got like librarians up there that can help you. Everyone has access to this. And so I obviously have access to mine. And so any questions as mundane as you want to the super spiritual life purpose, whatever, you can do past lives, all of this stuff. So that's a really, really good tool that I again forget that I have, like with the Reiki and whatever. Like I'm like, oh, I wonder what I should do here. Oh, I could just pop into my records, because unlike when I do it with clients where it's this whole sort of like procedure and stuff, like I can just literally, and I'm in, right? Like it's
Hmm.
not like I have to sit down for an hour and do it. But yeah, so that's actually a really, really powerful tool that I have access to as well. So, and again, when I use with clients from day one, especially if they're really, really good with it, I really encourage them to go in for themselves, and because they have access to their records, and I really want them to not have to rely on external. So they don't have to rely on me. They don't have to rely on somebody else to take them into their records, because their records is theirs. And that's a tool that everyone should be using.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for me, yeah, like initially it will be like the gut and the third eye. And if I need to go and actually ask questions where it can actually be like verbal or something, some kind of answer properly, then I'll go into my Akashic
Yeah, I'm
Records.
really happy that you talked about the Akashic Records. That was on my list to ask you
Yeah.
about, because I know that's one of your favorite modalities. And I forget, I do the Akashic Records. I've worked with the Akashic Records before. I do forget to use it, but I do channeled messages. So
Yeah.
it's very similar, and I combine it with Akashic Record tarot and tuning into the Akashic tarot, Akashic Records. And for everybody listening, Akashic Records, nobody can access your files, nobody can access your records without your specific
Yeah.
permission. So don't think anyone can just go in. It's not like a public library. It's just
Yes.
it's you need a card, you need it stamped, and you need your permission, right? Before
Yes.
you can go in.
Absolutely.
But I think that that's a great modality to use. And also the fact that you mentioned, yes, listen to your body. I
Yeah.
think it is really important. You talk about the third eye, but for maybe beginners, listen to your body, start listening to your body, and
Yeah.
then it will develop, and then you can start tuning in more deeply on a deeper level, Becca,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because like I said, like your body is not trying to hurt you when it's
Right.
sick, or when, you know, you break out in some kind of skin condition or something. It's trying to tell you something. Like for example, my mum, she was really scared of flying. And so just before she would, because you go to Spain a lot, right? And so just before she went to Spain, she would get psoriasis all over her hands, just every single time. And then as soon as she got to Spain, it disappears. But then when she had to fly home again, guess what? Psoriasis came back, right? And
Right.
she would only ever get psoriasis when on the lead up to getting on the plane, because she was nervous and she was full of anxiety, and her body is trying to indicate to her, you're freaking out about something and you need to calm yourself. You need to calm down. And so that signal to her was the psoriasis. Every time she
Right.
got that was her body telling her, breathe. calm down, you're okay, you're safe, you don't need to go into this fight or flight. Right. So it's the same thing with everything, and your body is constantly telling you stuff. And when you ignore it, that's when it gets worse.
Yeah.
So for every sort of next level sickness or skin condition or just like whatever your body is doing for you is just going to progressively get worse until you actually say, oh, okay, I need to tune in now. I need to see what's going on and why this is happening.
Yeah, I used to get what I call now neck stress. And I would have and I thought I was allergic to jewelry
Oh
until I tuned in and realized it's
no.
stress and it comes here. It's really funny. It comes here and here. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a blush, right?
yeah, it's just and it's like
Yeah.
eczema. It's like a little bit of eczema, yes, and it's just stress.
Yeah.
It's just that's my body telling me, okay,
Mhm.
it's all right, Beth. You just need to just chill
Yeah.
out. Take a break,
Right.
take some time off.
And because it's chest and neck, that's heart and that's throat. So
Right.
that's, maybe sort of self-love or whatever, or it's just like a grief, it could be. And then neck is because you're not communicating to yourself or to others, you're not speaking your truth, right?
Right,
So
which is what was happening.
you would tune in
Absolutely.
like that,
Yeah, I
right?
was
So you then,
well before my coaching and podcast. Now I'm all right.
right?
Right.
So this is the thing, where is it showing up on your body?
Yeah.
And so what is that related to? It's just signaling to you that there's a problem in these areas that you need to confront.
Oh yeah. That
Yeah.
definitely listen to your body. If you're getting the rash, if you're getting something, your body's trying to tell you something, and there are ways that you can find
Yeah.
out what is that? What are you worried about? What are you stressing? It's
Yeah.
just about sitting down and taking some time for yourself to work it out, right?
Yeah.
In your experience, Becca, how does finding your personal joy and living authentically contribute to the collective consciousness of this planet?
Oh,
As
great
we move,
question.
I know, as we move from we're moving out of service to self to service for others, right? To service to
Yes.
others. So how does how does all of this combine for the collective consciousness in your
Oh,
experience?
wow. How much time do we have?
Not long.
So,
Summarize. Summarize.
raising our own vibration, and bringing in the joy for ourselves. Like we said before, it could just be small things. It doesn't have to be this big grand thing. It can just be small everyday stuff. But just those little joys, they mount up, they mount up, they mount up, and that just for yourself creates a lot more happiness in your life. You're a lot more able to um when sort of like the challenges come in, you're able to confront them a lot calmer, a lot better, and get rid of those a lot quicker when you're vibrating on a higher level. On a collective way, so we could go really, really spiritual with this, but it's just like okay, so when you're in a busy place, if you smile at a stranger, yeah, they might think you're weird, but it makes them smile too. Even if they don't want to smile at you, they're going to smile back at you, right? It's a contagious thing. So then, if you just compliment a stranger or a family member or a friend or whoever, that's going to do something within them. And then later that day, they're going to say, oh yeah, and that person said that she liked my dress, or that my hair looked nice, or whatever it was, and they're going to keep coming back to that, and that's going to just that little burst of joy. And so all that to say is that you're just going to be radiating this joy and the aura of the happiness. And like we said before, and people aren't going to necessarily know what it is, but they're going to pick up on it because very subtly their body is going to say, that looks nice, I want some of that. And then if everybody just sort of raises their vibration a little bit more, the earth is also doing the same thing. And whatever you think about the earth, whether a goddess or just the earth as it's a natural thing, that vibration is getting higher and higher and higher.
Right.
So the idea is that, like you said, we're going from the the I to the we in the collective consciousness right now. So it used to be very ego, and when I say ego, it's not in a negative way. It's like just that primal state of, am I safe? Have I got food? Have I got shelter? Am I okay? We were going from that kind of energy to that collective energy of, but how can me helping others help me, and we all help each other. If I have a skill that someone needs, I can give them that, just like they can help me with their skill that I don't have. And it's this very beautiful exchange, and we're literally going into this higher vibration. And when we're in the higher vibration, it means that the lower ones, so the sadness and the grief and the anger and everything, they stop being such a big thing for us, and then eventually we stop being able to get into that because there's no cause for it anymore, and we can just continue to go into like gratitude and love and all of these beautiful
And
flowery
joy.
words that get
Focus
thrown
on the
around. But
focus on the
yeah,
positive. I mean, it's what you put your attention to for you grows more. And I love that the radiance, the way you just describe that, the radiant, it radiates out of
yeah,
you, and it does. That's
yeah.
beautiful. Very nice explanation. So we're going to finish with two final questions, Becca.
Okay.
Um, Questions I ask all my guests. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, to me, I would tell her to keep traveling, to keep learning, and to just know her own power, really, like to know that she's in control, and yes, other people are going to come in, but she's so powerful, and she doesn't need to absorb all of that. She can help where she can, but she doesn't need to take in the energies of other people. Just yeah, just go about and be who you are, and unapologetically be who you are. Travel the world, explore. Yes, just all of that. That's
Okay.
what I would tell her.
And what do you hope your story will inspire in other women who are looking to live a more purposeful and joyful, authentic life?
I hope that today they have listened and they've understood that yes, it's a journey, and yes, there's hard things as well, but the solution to it isn't this huge, big, all or nothing. Today it's happening. It can be a very slow, very intentional process of relearning about themselves and reloving themselves and coming home to themselves and realizing that they are enough and they have the power to change their reality, to change their outlook in life, and to get exactly what they want. And yes, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to be this beautiful adventure that they can go on to discover that.
Very nice. No, what a great way to end it. A million thanks to Becca for joining me today. Thanks to our audience for hanging out with us. We hope you find it inspiring and empowering, and you will find all you need to know about both of us in the details below. So until next time, this is the Passionate Pioneer and Becca signing off.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Wow, another powerful Passionista conversation. I hope that this guest's journey, experience, and story has inspired something deep within you. Remember, it's about following the joy moments in your life. It's a beautiful dance with the universe. If you would like to dive deeper into your joy journey with me, you will find all the links below this video, including a link to a free workbook that will help you to start your joy journey. And until next time, Passionista, I'll say goodbye. Much love and joy.